Good morning to you all. I'm happy to be here due to my past association with the CII and also because of the fact that once upon a time I spent 10 days and nights on a ship looking for a ship which was sunk, and then only I realized how tough and how difficult it is to look for a needle in a haystack or a ship on a sea, high sea. As luck would have it, we did, at the end of the ninth day, we were able to get the sunken ship. It brought to me the great importance of people working on the seas, and especially people who go deep diving looking for the remnants of the ship on the coastal belt, on the shore of the belt of this thing. So I would like to talk to you today about the importance of maritime security, where the human being is very important, and where marrying of technology and the human intelligence is very important. Being a policeman, obviously, the human aspect of it is very, very important. Like, for example, all these hulla more about maritime security, etc., started after 26/11. Thankfully, we are still remembering it after 2-3 years have passed. Probably as we pass by, we would have forgotten that in 1991, April, May, same 7 group of people crossed the Park Straits and landed on Tamil Nadu soil, and they brought about a havoc in the country. We are a democratic country, and election was in the process, and the person who was expected to lead the country after the election was assassinated by a human bomb on 21st of May 1991. And these people came across the Park Straits, landed in the middle of the night, escorted by one of those LTT gunboats. They couldn't land on the first day. They went back and came back again and then landed on the second day. Before that and after that, more people landed without let or hindrance. They took positions all across the border, Tamil Nadu, including going right up to Delhi. And then the assassination was planned and executed over a period of 2 months' time. And none of us had any clue about this. Some of these things I know because I was associated with the investigation and prosecution that resulted in 26 deaths. And had opportunity to look into those, the diaries they mentioned. That's how we knew that they came, tried to land and went back, could land. And while the hot chase was on, we were trying to patrol the coastal belt to see that the one-eyed Jack and his assassins did not get back into the country from where the intelligence operation was launched. So all these things. But then maritime security, as you know, did not receive the attention that it needed to be receiving and should have received. The Indian Ocean is called Indian Ocean, and historically speaking, it is called Indian Ocean because India was a very big, important landmark on that particular ocean. And Indians were famous right from the times of Cholas, etc., for having crossed the oceans and gone. Even now we call them NRIs, and we are very happy about the NRIs. But we forget that the seafaring activity of the Indians was the one which brought about trade, which brought all the Vasco da Gamas and the English East India Company, everything looking for trade and this thing. And they came and they found it to be such a rich culture that they soon took over the possession of the country itself, and they ruled us for so many years. So the strategic importance of the maritime security and the marrying of the human int with the tech int and the need for proper security, maritime security, especially the coastal borders are much more. At least Himalayas have some very, very inhospitable this thing, so it is equally bad for the adversary. But then here, it's a coast belt where we can land just like that. I was in Singapore 2-3 days back. I was looking into the International Herald Tribune. A small news item caught my attention. It said, in the last 7 years, in 2010, the year 2010, which has just ended, piracy was the highest. And one of the main areas of piracy was, as you know, the Straits of Malacca and other places. Of course, on this side also, we are having piracy and other things. But if piracy is very high and has been increasing and was the highest in the year 2010, I go back to my days when I was working in the CBI, when all of a sudden we are asked to handle a case of two ships which just disappeared overnight on the same night. One was called Nityanand and another one I forget what it was. The two ships which are coming around on the Bay of Bengal suddenly disappeared overnight. And then police was asked to handle this matter. The police, having been a policeman, having served the police for the last 37 years, I know how ill-equipped, both in terms of managerial capability, in terms of technology, in terms of law, legal structure, finances, whatever you may say, how ill-equipped it is to handle the situation. And then when 2611 happens, you want them to be in the forefront trying to buttress the situation and see that what happened does not happen again, or what happened in Sriperumbudur does not happen. So how do you plan and execute a secure plan, security system, which will take care of, which will merge the maritime requirement, the security, external security requirement with the internal security requirement, so that the police as a whole is probably well equipped to handle the situation. That's the thing which must be agitating our mind. Now, in this context, as I said, marrying of the human intelligence and the technical gadgetry and all those things are very, very important. In addition to this, we also need to get into the project management mode. Somebody also talked about procurement, that especially when procuring, we can't go for the L1, and then we need to have the technically superior product being brought into the system so that we are able to meet the challenges. So one question which I would like you to keep in mind is the corruption angle, because being from Vigilance Commission now, the corruption that is rampant in the country, which is the talking point today, but in 1991, one of the assassins who came along with Danu was telling the same thing to us during interrogation. He said, in your country, just throw a few dollars, a few rupees here and there, and we can have our way, and we can do what we like. So the corruption is very important, whether it is in procurement, whether in executing systems and procedures and projects, and all these things are important. And unless you do keep in mind, the nation must come first and foremost in all the activities, and then only all the other things. If you are going to be, even in business, for example, you are talking of a monumental 1,70,000 crore loss in 2G. Now, mobility is something very, very important. Communication is very, very important. And in that communication, if the people in the lowest level are to be empowered and emboldened to be connected with the world, and if there is going to be corruption of such a magnitude that the private sector is going to be benefited by several lakh crores of rupees. We are not talking of public sector corruption here. We are talking of private sector corruption. So what do you have to do? In fact, in private sector corruption, it is phenomenal. It's much more than what you and I think is the public sector corruption which is going on. For example, the Citibank case. Now, probably CWG gets more attention than the Citibank scam which took place in Gurgaon. There also crores of rupees is lost. And nobody is talking about that in the manner in which it has to be addressed. So we need to be talking about corruption. So one of the things which we did after taking over the 3 new commissioners in the Vigilance Commission was empowering the citizen to be able to speak out, because democracy means that we have to be able to speak out and voice our opinion. So we launched a scheme called Vijay, V-I-G-E-Y-E, Vigilance Eye. The Vigilance Eye makes use of the same mobile, which is now in more than 50 million or 60 million people's hands, to empower them to report about corruption. So that Vigilance Commission, with hardly 300 people in its fore, can look after the corruption all across 1,500 offices, departments and ministries, etc., all over the country. Near impossible situation. So we have to empower the common citizen to be able to talk about corruption, talk about security. If somebody was landing in clandestinely, they must be able to communicate, give the information. So this Vijay, you can note down VIGEYE, and you can simply send a number, message to, we are trying to get hold of a 4-digit number, 1964, that the year the CBC was set up. But right now we have a 10-digit number, 92231 744440. I repeat, 92231 744440. If you type VIGEYE and send a SMS to this number, an application will be downloaded into your mobile and you can set it up on your mobile. After that, you are empowered as a citizen to report about corruption that is bothering you in your jurisdiction. You can upload voices. Some demand is taking place. Quietly record the thing and upload. Voice mails can be sent. You have a document. You can take the picture of the document and upload. You see some surreptitious person coming and landing. You take the photographs and upload. On the sea, you want to see that you are seeing surreptitious movement, surveillance. You take a video camera, upload it. So whether it is voice or data, security, a document or picture or a video file can be uploaded straight away into the central server. This is empowering the citizen to be able to talk about the matters that bother them so that at central location somebody can look into, wake up and take action. Of course, that is taking little time. Like for example, to get from 10-digit number to a 4-digit number with number portability coming in, which is taking some time. And then we have to be able to act on all these complaints. There was a complaint which came saying that the MCD inspector came and looked into the commercial complex and took away all the generating sets because they were illegal, and he returned the generating set except 4 who did not pay money. So the complaint came, we asked the vigilance officer to go and check, and it was found and the action was taken. As person got down in the railway station and he said, at gate number so and so I was demanded 300 rupees because I didn't have the proper ticket. He didn't know who it was, etc. He only said at 11:30 to 11:35 I was going through this particular gate. So we told the vigilance officer and then he located. Of course, we only admonished them, and because this is only the trial phase, the proof of concept case where we are empowering the citizen to talk about this. This mobile technology, my friend probably from Kerala will be able to tell you, is being used so well in Kerala that fishermen are told where the fish yield is going to be high so that they can go to that particular spot and they can get a good catch. And then they are also told on the spot that where the fish prices are going to be most remunerative for them so that they can take it to that particular spot and have a better catch. So this is empowering the citizen. So we in coastal security in Karnataka, we tried this method that we will give a mobile phone to the fishermen and then they will take and they will go, and if there is anything they will come and report it to us over the mobile. And now we have gone one step ahead. It is not only a voice call, it can be a data call, it can be a document and what have you. So this empowerment of the citizen to ensure that they keep reporting what is happening around them, and marrying of this human intelligence which is coming from the common people to the police, and through the police, a better police. And one particular thing I just want to stress again, this we learned right in the first day of policing career, 37 years back, and still holds good. Every policeman is a citizen in uniform, and every citizen is a policeman without uniform. And so every one of us have to keep our eyes and ears open and be able to communicate our thoughts, our ideas, our suspicions, so that is where the proper surveillance comes in. Just like that Atirai was saying, in our country if a foreigner was there, within 24 hours we would have made out in LTT country. But here, for months together they stayed and assassinated our would-be Prime Minister. We did not know about it. So lack of failure then you say. So this is where we need to marry our human intelligence with the tech intelligence. And so I would like to, I think time for closing is there. I would like to propose that we work on a PPP model. private-public partnership. I would like to add two more P's. One is the project implementation mode. Get things done first time right at the first time. That's the project management mode. And second is the participative management where people are all part of the security system and apparatus. Somebody in the last session talked about India and China and compared. After we launched this Vijay program, there is an article, a comparison done by a US person. It is available on the net for those who want to get. Comparing India and China and the computerization, how it is going on. How computerization is changing lives in a communist setup and how computerization is changing lives in a democratic setup like India. So we see chaos here and we are all bothered, and we are seeing that China has gone ahead with all that systematic way in which they are able to do it because of the political system which they are having. But one thing that caught my attention there in that thing, that he says projects like Project Vijay, projects such as Vijay, which empowers the citizen and tries to bring order in an otherwise chaotic situation, is a way to go forward. And then if such technologies come, it will not be far off when India is going to be outwitting China. That's the conclusion of a foreigner. So I think I must conclude here by saying, come on, let us build Team India. T for transparency and technology. Transparency and technology. E for empowerment and efficiency. A for audit trail and accountability. M for mutual cooperation and measurement, so that we exactly know where we stand at any point of time so that we can move ahead. Come, let us build better India and leave a better future for all our projects. Thank you very much for this opportunity.